Hi and welcome to part 2 of my Get to Know Me mini-series. If you missed part 1 and want to hear about some facts about my life, you can find the video linked below in the description box. So while you're listening to my rambling, you can have a peek into some of my art journals starting in 2014. They start off very basic and you will see many different styles I was experimenting with and how my style developed throughout the years. I'm going to be very real here and show you the good, the bad, and the ugly because it's all of my journey because it's all part of my journey and I had to get through it to be here now. I have no shame in it because you have to make ugly art to make good art, in my opinion. So in this part, we will focus on my creative journey and how I got to where I am today artistically. A lot of your questions were about how I got into journaling and art, so let me tell you about my journey and then I will answer some more of your questions after that. In school, the only subject I ever got A's in was art. It was the only subject I was ever really interested in. I would have a diary in which I not only wrote but also put in magazine clippings and I drew in it as well. I never considered myself an artist, nor were my drawings very good, but I enjoyed the process. I always pictured myself making comic strips like you would find in daily newspapers, like Snoopy or Garfield. I always loved Snoopy and learned to draw him, and I made up other comic characters and made little comic strips just for myself. I taught some of my friends how to draw these characters, and to this day, one of my friends can draw a rabbit I had taught her. You can imagine how unbelievably excited I was when I actually got to meet Charles M. Schulz, the creator of Snoopy, by chance on a trip to the Snoopy Museum in Santa Rosa, California. After he found out we were visiting from Austria, he actually sat down with us and he talked about the experience in the war where he was stationed in Austria for a while. Needless to say, I will cherish this moment forever. I explored various forms of creativity over many years. The longest phase I had was photography. I focused on macro photography, mostly florals, but also everyday objects. I had a few exhibitions and then I moved more into wedding and event photography because I saw the commercial value in it. I did that for over 10 years on the side. But since the focus of art was gone and I did not enjoy the pressure of being a wedding photographer, always feeling anxious until I got home and saw the photos were okay, I lost interest. I was doing anime for a while, both drawing with my hands and later with my computer. I did a 2-year course for graphical commercial arts on the side and then never applied any of that knowledge. So in 2013, when I started working for the American school, the high school art teacher gifted me a huge blank art journal, which I did not use for months because I was afraid of ruining it. The fear of the blank page. I think many of you can relate to that. So that is when I started watching Jenny Belly on YouTube, and she helped me overcome that fear, and within 3 months that journal was full. It was like it had been waiting inside me to pour out. It was the greatest feeling. Jenny Belly also made her own journals, so that's when I started making them. I think it was 2014. By then I was hooked to making art all the time. I took quite a few online art courses. The one that I got the most out of was The Life Book by Tamara Laporte, which I took in 2015. I learned so many different techniques from different teachers and many others. I loved it. I took whimsical portrait classes with Jane Davenport and all kinds of fun mixed media classes. Bun is one of those. I had a phase where I was very much into Martha from Maremi Small Art, and I tried my best to try her style, and I enjoyed that very much as well. I started an art group after school once a month for my colleagues. We started out with 4 participants and today I have 12 regular participants. This is a special time to forget about the troubles and stress of work, to enjoy each other's company and to do something creative with your hands in a safe space where no one will judge you. I am so grateful for this wonderful group of women who have taught me so much and who have paved the way for trying my hand at sharing my passion on YouTube, which I didn't start until 2018. I think I fell in love with traveler's notebooks and making your own inserts by watching Amity Bloom. Gosh, that girl has the most wonderful style. That's when I got into vintage journals, which was only in 2018. When you see my videos from last year, you will see I only slowly started moving in that direction with the traveler's notebooks. It was when I started watching Johanna Clough more that I wanted to try making my own junk journals from vintage books. I made my first one in January this year. I was very happy with it and currently I'm on my 5th one, having a new one every month, and I'm loving it so much. There's something about giving a new life to something that would otherwise be forgotten or be left to collect dust on a shelf or to be thrown into the trash. These books have a history. Somebody else has probably read them and they were part of their life. I love going to flea markets and going through old things. One of the questions was if I'm limiting myself to vintage journals or whether I also have vintage clothing or home decor. I wish I was able to have more vintage home decor. However, I live in a small city flat with white modern furniture, so it just doesn't fit in it, unfortunately. So I found joy in buying paper products like old books, postcards, greeting cards, cabinet cards, doilies, lace and linens, and occasionally a little tin. I can only buy things that don't take up a lot of space, and I don't want to clutter my flat. I like it clean and neat, which seems to be a total conflict when you make junk journals. Now, I have some questions that I would like to get into. So, some that were not answered by what I was just saying are the following. How many hours do you spend making videos daily? So, I currently post 4 videos a week. So that's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And each video takes about an hour or maybe hour and a half to film. So then you upload it and you have to edit it, you have to do a voiceover, and you have to post it. And that takes, for a, let's say, 12 to 18 minute video, that takes 3 to 4 hours per video. Another question was, how many hours a day do you spend crafting? So this varies a lot. The days I make my videos, that's usually the only crafting I do. Depending on what I'm working on, I spend anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, but there never seems to be enough time in the day for crafting. What is your favorite thing to make? I had to think about this for quite a while, and finally I decided that my favorite thing to make is still collages. Collages with paper scraps, with book pages, with washi, postage stamps, maybe some floral cutouts or other focal points. I think that's the most relaxing for me to do. What do you love about making junk journals? So I love making something new out of something old that, as I said, would have probably been discarded or forgotten. But I also love, and this may sound weird because I might be using the wrong word, I love the authenticity of the real thing as opposed to vintage looking things, say from maybe AliExpress. Having said that, I do love the combination of the old and the new. It's like connecting the past to the present. It brings it all together and it makes a whole, because the old books and papers are part of our history and a part of who we are today. Next question. How did your junk journal workshop go? So, very sweet to ask that question. Some of you might know I was trying to have a junk journal workshop outside of school for the public as well. So besides what I was doing in school, or I'm still doing in school. I had one planned for the end of April, which I moved to May, but it looks like it will be cancelled due to the lack of participants. Now, this doesn't mean I'm giving up on the idea. I just need to rethink it and work on the marketing. Junk journaling is not known here in Austria at all. And when I try to explain it, I usually get very confused looks. So that will be another challenge I will deal with. And I think it's okay to fail sometimes because it means you're brave and you've taken a risk and you will definitely learn from it. Another question was, do you do other crafts besides journals? So up until last year, when I was still working in school, I was also making a lot of greeting cards, birthday cards, thank you cards, and loads of Christmas cards. I recently tried brush lettering, but I didn't stick with it. Once in a while, I try some watercolor, but I don't stick with it. So making the journals and ephemera is currently the only thing I stick with, probably because it's so versatile and I'm always learning and experimenting. I get bored with one thing so easily, so junk journaling is perfect in that way. Next questions. What other things do you like besides crafting, and what are some of your favorite things such as music, food, movies, books, etc.? So my favorite books I have covered in the first part of the Get to Know Me video. As for favorite food, probably spaghetti with tomato sauce and fresh basil and a green salad. I know that doesn't sound very exciting. I also love pizza, which is also not exciting. And I love sushi and Asian food in general. And since my hubby is Egyptian and is a great cook, I have also learned to love Middle Eastern food. Favorite movie? Probably my favorite movie is Hero. It's a Chinese movie from 2002, which was also shown in the States, I believe in 2004. And it's about a protagonist trying to assassinate the king of Qin, who was the founder of the Qin dynasty and the first emperor of a unified China. It's a martial arts movie, and it's done in the most breathtaking artistic style, and it's full of vibrant colors and beautiful scenes. So I can really urge you to check it out if you have not seen it. Next question, where do you get your inspiration from? So lots of times I wake up with an idea in the middle of the night, or I would think of something when I used to jog regularly, and now when I go for long walks on my own. Usually it's when I'm away from social media and electronic devices. I get very inspired by Happy Mail items and love trying to figure out how to incorporate them in my journal. But of course, I also get inspiration from other YouTube creators, which I then share on my channel, also from Instagram and from Pinterest. Next question. Will you go back to work in a school once your year is up, or will you carry on with your YouTube journey? So that's a really good question. So I'm currently on a 1-year sabbatical. I'm kind of in the middle of it, doing a teaching course or teaching certificate. But as for my YouTube journey, it's not one or the other for me. I will definitely carry on with YouTube, no matter if I go back to work at school or somewhere else or not. There is one job at school that I would apply for if it becomes available, but I don't know if it will. But I'm at a point in my life where I would love to be able to work just for myself. I'm not for sure how realistic that is. I guess time will tell. But in any case, I'm so happy that you're accompanying me on my journey, and I will keep you posted on any developments. I really appreciate each and every one of you and your comments and your likes. Our crafting community means the world to me. I feel like we're all in this together and learning from each other, and we should support each other wherever we can. So I really hope you enjoyed this part 2 of the Get to Know Me mini-series, and hope you have a fabulous day, and hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!